Hi. So I was asked to do a little video on how I made one of these inexpensive pottery wheels to work better. If you've ever bought one of these, you know that when you try to press down on the clay at slow speeds, it stops the motor. And if you turn it up fast enough to have enough torque, the clay goes flying everywhere. So basically what I've done is I made one of these, uh, changed it up a little bit so that it works better at slow speeds, more torque. So check out the video, and if it helps you improve yours, or if you find it interesting, thanks for watching. So I'm going to play this video for you so that you can see me throwing the pot on my adapted mini pottery wheel. But I also want to not talk a lot so that you can hear the sound of the pottery wheel. You can tell when it's slowing down from too much pressure, so you can tell when it's not slowing down from too much pressure. So enjoy this part of it. After this is over with, I'll show you how to make one yourself if you'd like to. So enjoy. So after changing the gear size of this motor, um, right now the, the pottery wheel is at basically full speed, which is real close, in my opinion, to what a regular pottery wheel would be at full speed. So I had some challenges with this lump of clay because it was a little firm, keeping it from getting all womply at the top. But that's okay. It actually wasn't too bad. I just had to keep cutting some pieces off the top. But as far as pulling it and pulling it up like you would normally pottery, it did pretty good. Now I know this section of the video, might be a little boring to some of you who throw pots, but I wanted to not cut it. I wanted to do the whole thing so you could see the whole throwing of this particular, basically a coffee mug, a tankard actually, tankard, because one of my favorite potters on the internet, I don't know if I can mention his name or not, I don't know if I should, but anyway, one of my favorite potters on the internet has taught me how to throw tankards. So just bear with me, and if you find this part boring, mostly I just wanted you to see what this pottery wheel is capable of, with basically throwing really just almost anything at a small size. As you can see, at slower RPMs, I'm still able to pull the walls up pretty good. Even though it's slow RPM, I can still put some pressure on the clay and not cause the wheel to slow down. Collaring in at this speed is challenging. I mean, at this size of ball of clay is pretty challenging, but it's a lot of fun playing with small pottery like this. You definitely don't use a whole lot of clay, and you really don't even make a whole lot of mess. So you can see there's not a whole lot of clay being spattered everywhere. working now to try to get that tankard shape, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because of the clay, I didn't wedge it, or it's a little too dry. I'm sure getting a wobbly top, but that's okay. It's still working out pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. It's a really small tankard, but it looks like basically a regular tankard mug. The inside isn't real thick like you see on a lot of the small mini pottery wheel stuff, where they have to leave the inside real thick, because you can really throw at a lot slower speed and still put pressure on the clay to thin the walls. So yeah. So this is my first attempt at modifying one of these mini pottery wheels. I keep trying to simplify and move on to new designs. Okay, so what you'll need is, this is a 5mm shaft. You can get those. Uh, you have to buy more than you'll need, and you have to cut them, which would require, some kind of a metal saw or grinder or something to cut it. These are the pulleys. They come as a set, two pulleys of the larger size and two pulleys of the smaller size in the belt, the tools you need to lock them in. And this is what the one I got. So that's working really well. You also need 5mm in ID, the internal diameter, 5mm bearings that are flanged. Flanged means they have this little lip on the edge. My hands are dirty because I just got done throwing that pot that's on the video. So they're 5mm on the outside, on the inside, ID, and then this outer rim right here is actually 11mm, but this drill here, 7/16 drill, is really perfect for drilling a hole in the wood for the bearings to sit into. Makes them fit kind of snug. So also at least one of these, preferably two, one at the top, one at the bottom. These are wheel collars. They're called wheel collars. They're used in radio control a lot, especially for model airplane wheels. But they have this little lifted end, which that will sit on the bearing like this, so that the pressure being put down on the wheel head will cause this to not be just rubbing on the surface of the bearing. It'll actually sit, the pressure will sit right on the part of the bearing that moves, that turns. So that lowers your friction. Now you can go this route. This is a 5mm bolt. The only problem is There's a little bit of slop. I thought about trying, just a bolt instead of having to cut the rod. But with the bolt, you maybe have to wrap it with some tape, just a little bit of Scotch tape or something to give it a little bit more thickness, because there's a little bit of slop and you get a little bit of wobble. I already had that experience playing around with it. And of course, here's the drill bit that you'll use to drill the holes for your in the wood for your bearings to fit into. So yeah, you'll have to try it out. So this is the 3/4 inch piece of wood where I drilled the holes with the 7/16 drill bit for the bearings to go on the top of this hole and also on the bottom. And for the wood used, you can, to make things simple, you can just get one of these. They're basically a panel board for painting. They're already coated with like a gesso, and you get these at most art supply. I've seen them on Amazon as well. And then you can use the wood to from when you cut it off here. This is for that top piece. You can use this part of the wood right here if you'd like to put the bearings in up at the top and down at the bottom after you drill the hole. But that's one way you can kind of like just save material. But I still felt like a little bit thicker wood was better. This is a 3/4 inch square, so that's what I used. And then you have to drill your hole like real close to the edge here because of the length of the belt. Now, depending on the length of the belt you get and all that, you have to measure it to see. But yeah, that's pretty much all the wood you would need. These are pretty inexpensive, or these you can get pretty much any hardware store. Or you can use the scrap left over after you make your top cover. So this is pretty much what everything looks like when it's all assembled. I mounted this this other panel box that you can get at many arts and crafts stores, even Walmart. And then this is the block of wood that holds the bearings. There's one at the bottom, there's a bearing at the top, and then right on top of that bearing is that wheel collar, and then the pulley, and then of course the wheel head. And right here is the pulley, the other pulley that is mounted to the motor coming out of the original pottery wheel. Now these are 5mm motor. The motor shaft is like a 5mm usually, and that's what I'm assuming that when yours is too. Most of them are. And yeah, so then I also have this part of the art panel, the painting panel that I cut and added Velcro to, and a little extra piece of wood to kind of cover that area there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then here is a cut piece of lid that I used for kind of a splash guard. Still kind of working on this whole thing, trying to make it even better. I mean, I'm sure maybe you'll have other ideas that work for you too. I'm slipping this tankard with a little bit of Terra Sigillata. I'm going to do a low firing on this one. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it.